I found out my wife was cheating on me because of a receipt for a hotel room I'd never heard of in a city I'd never been to. Funny how 23 years of marriage can crumble over a piece of paper that costs 79 cents to print. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. It was Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were my days to handle the finances, sort through the credit card statements, make sure we weren't hemorrhaging money on things we didn't need. Emily had always been careless with receipts, stuffing them into her purse like they were tissues, so I'd gotten used to finding crumpled evidence of her Starbucks addiction and her weakness for overpriced candles at Home Goods. But this one was different. The Grandview Hotel, Portland, 2 nights, premium suite, $1,500 charged to our joint account. Emily had been in Portland 3 weeks ago. A conference, she'd said, marketing seminar for her consulting firm. She'd shown me the brochure, even complained about the boring keynote speakers. I'd kissed her goodbye at the airport, told her to have fun, and spent the weekend watching basketball and eating pizza like a divorced dad practicing for his future. I sat at the kitchen table, the receipt between my fingers, and felt something cold settle into my chest. Not anger yet, just a kind of hollow recognition, like finding a crack in a window you'd always assumed was solid. The conference hotel was the downtown Marriott. I knew because I'd booked her Uber to take her there. She'd texted me from the lobby, complained about the weak Wi-Fi. So why was there a charge for the Grandview? I opened my laptop. Took me maybe 10 minutes to pull up our credit card history online. I'm a software developer, which means I know my way around databases and spreadsheets better than most people know their own children. What I found made my hands go numb. 4 trips in the last 6 months. Chicago, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. Every single one supposedly for work. Every single one with charges for hotels that weren't the official conference venues. Every single one with restaurant bills for 2 at places that served $30 steaks and $40 wine. I went back further. 8 months, a full year. The pattern was there, faint but undeniable, like a footprint in snow that's almost melted, but not quite. My phone buzzed. Emily. Hey babe, I'm grabbing dinner with Sarah after work. Don't wait up. Sarah, her college roommate, her alibi for everything, apparently. Sure, I texted back. Have fun. I sat there in the kitchen, the house silent except for the hum of the refrigerator, and felt the ground shift beneath me. 23 years. Our daughter Kate was getting married in 2 months. We had a mortgage, a retirement plan, a timeshare in Florida we barely used. We had a life, and Emily was burning it down. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I did what I do best. I dug. Credit card statements became breadcrumbs. Hotel charges led to flight records. Flight records led to cell phone bills. Cell phone bills led to a number that appeared at least twice a day, every day for the last 9 months. By 4 in the morning, I had a name, Ryan Blackwood. By 5, I had his LinkedIn profile. Chief marketing officer at some startup in San Francisco that sold software to other software companies. The kind of circular economy that only makes sense to people who've inhaled too much venture capital fumes. 46 years old, Stanford MBA. Previously worked at 3 different firms, each one larger and more impressive than the last. And in his About section, buried under the corporate buzzwords and humble bragging, proud UC Berkeley alumnus, class of '98. Same as Emily. I sat back, the blue light from my laptop screen making my eyes ache. College boyfriend. Had to be. Emily had mentioned a Ryan once or twice over the years, always in that breezy, dismissive way people talk about exes who don't matter anymore. Ancient history, nothing to worry about, except here he was, charging room service to my credit card. The sun came up. I made coffee. Emily came downstairs at 7, wearing her yoga clothes, her hair pulled back in a ponytail that made her look younger than 43. She smiled at me, that same smile I'd been falling for since we met at a friend's barbecue in 2001. You're up early, she said, kissing the top of my head as she passed. Couldn't sleep? Work stuff, I said. You know how it is? I do. She poured herself coffee, added the oat milk she'd started buying because regular milk was apparently killing the planet. I have a crazy day. 3 client calls and a presentation at 2. I might be late again. With Sarah? Probably. She's having issues with David again. You know how he is? I didn't know how David was. I'd met him twice, maybe 3 times. He seemed fine. But Emily had been using Sarah's marital problems as cover for months now, and I'd been too stupid or too trusting or too busy to notice. Well, give her my best, I said. Emily smiled again, grabbed her gym bag, and headed for the door. Love you, she called over her shoulder. Love you too, I said to the empty kitchen. And I meant it. That was the thing. Even with the evidence spread across my laptop screen like a crime scene, even knowing what I knew, I loved her. 23 years doesn't evaporate just because your wife is a liar. It just makes everything harder. I waited until I heard her car pull out of the driveway. Then I pulled up Ryan Blackwood's social media profiles. Facebook was a dead end, locked down tight. But Instagram was public, and Ryan was one of those middle-aged guys who posts inspirational quotes and photos of himself running marathons and pictures of craft cocktails with captions like celebrating another win with the team. I scrolled back through 3 months of posts, business conferences, airport lounges, rooftop bars in cities I recognized from Emily's travel schedule. And there, buried in a carousel of photos from some charity gala in San Francisco 6 weeks ago, Emily. Wearing a black dress I'd never seen before, standing next to Ryan, both of them holding champagne glasses and smiling like they'd just won the lottery. The caption? Great night for a great cause. Couldn't do this without incredible partners like Emily. Partners. I felt something crack open inside me, something dark and cold and patient. Not rage, not yet. Just a kind of clarity, sharp as broken glass. Emily thought she was clever. Emily thought she could have her comfortable life and her college romance and her perfect daughter's perfect wedding without consequences. Emily thought I was too busy writing code and managing servers to notice that she'd been living a double life for the better part of a year. Emily was wrong. I closed my laptop and went upstairs to shower. I had work to do. The thing about revenge is that most people do it wrong. They act on impulse, let their emotions drive the car while their brain screams from the trunk. They confront too early, show their hand too soon, and end up looking like the crazy one while the cheater gets sympathy and a fresh start. I wasn't going to make that mistake. For the next 2 weeks, I played the part of the oblivious husband. I kissed Emily goodbye in the mornings, asked about her day over dinner, laughed at her stories about difficult clients and incompetent coworkers. I helped Kate address wedding invitations, wrote checks for deposits on flowers and catering, and pretended everything was fine. Meanwhile, I built my case like I was preparing for trial. I installed monitoring software on our home computer. Not illegal, since it was jointly owned. The software logged every keystroke, every website, every email. I set up a separate email account and configured it to receive reports every night at midnight. What I found would have been funny if it hadn't been so pathetic. Emily and Ryan emailed each other constantly, not through their work accounts, of course. They weren't that stupid, but Emily had set up a Gmail account under a fake name, and Ryan had done the same, and they used these accounts to coordinate their meetings and exchange messages that made me want to throw my laptop through a window. Can't wait to see you in Seattle, Ryan wrote. I've missed your face. 2 more days, Emily responded. Jake thinks I'm visiting my sister. My sister, who lived in Phoenix, who Emily hadn't visited in 3 years. The emails went back 10 months. It had started at their college reunion, just like I'd suspected. They'd reconnected, had drinks, probably told themselves it was innocent. Then Ryan had invited Emily to a conference in Chicago, and things had escalated. The emails from that trip were explicit enough that I stopped reading halfway through. But I saved everything. Screenshots, PDFs, forwarded copies to a cloud storage account Emily didn't know existed. Evidence. I also hired a private investigator. His name was Dennis, and he looked exactly like you'd expect a private investigator to look. 50-something, pot-belly, mustache that belonged in a 1980s cop show. He worked out of a strip mall office between a nail salon and a tax preparation service, and he charged $200 an hour plus expenses. I need documentation, I told him at our first meeting. Photos, video, whatever you can get. My wife is having an affair, and I need proof that's ironclad. Dennis nodded, taking notes on a yellow legal pad. How long you been married? 23 years. Kids? 1 daughter. She's getting married in 2 months. Dennis winced. Timing's not great. Timing's never great for this kind of thing. True enough. He leaned back in his chair, which creaked under his weight. I'll need photos of your wife and the other guy, their schedules if you have them, any known meeting places. I handed him a folder with everything. Emily's recent travel itinerary, Ryan's photo from LinkedIn, the hotel receipts, the phone records. Dennis flipped through it, nodding appreciatively. You've done your homework, he said. I'm thorough. I can see that. Give me a week. I'll have what you need. He delivered in 5 days. A thick envelope containing photos of Emily and Ryan having dinner at a restaurant in Seattle, checking into the Grandview Hotel in Portland, holding hands while walking through Pike Place Market. The photos were time-stamped, geotagged, completely admissible in any divorce proceeding. But I wasn't interested in divorce. Not yet. I was interested in consequences. Emily had another trip scheduled for the end of the month, Austin, supposedly. A 3-day consulting gig with a potential new client. She'd already booked her flight, already told me she'd be staying at the Austin Convention Center Hilton. I called Dennis. My wife's going to Austin on the 28th, I said. I need to know where she's really staying and who she's meeting. You want me to follow her? I want you to document everything, and I want to know her flight information. Both of them. Both of them. Her and her boyfriend. They're flying down together. I guarantee it. Dennis was quiet for a moment. You thinking about confronting them? I'm thinking about making an appearance. Be careful with that. Things can escalate quick. I'm not going to touch anyone, I said. I just want them to know I know. On the morning of the 28th, I kissed Emily goodbye like always. She was cheerful, excited even, talking about how this client could be a really big deal for her firm. I nodded, smiled, told her I hoped it went well. Kate wants to finalize the seating chart this weekend, I said. Think you'll be back in time? Definitely. I'll be home Friday night. We can work on it Saturday morning. Sounds good. She rolled her suitcase to the door, then paused and came back to kiss me again. I love you, she said. Love you too. And then she was gone. I waited 30 minutes, then checked the tracking app I'd installed on her phone. It showed her heading toward the airport, right on schedule. I pulled up the flight information Dennis had sent me. United 1847 to Austin, departing at 10:45 a.m. Ryan Blackwood was on the same flight, seat 12A. Emily was in 12B. I had a reservation on the 1 p.m. flight. The plan was simple. Beat them to Austin, check into the same hotel, and be waiting in the lobby when they arrived. No violence, no screaming, no Jerry Springer theatrics. Just me, sitting in a chair with a newspaper, letting them see me and realize their perfect little affair had just imploded. But plans change. I got to the airport at noon, cleared security, and was walking toward my gate when I passed a sports bar with CNN on the television. I glanced up, saw something about a flight delay, and kept walking. Then my phone buzzed. Text from Emily. Flight delayed, mechanical issue. Probably won't get in until after 8. Ugh. I stopped walking. Pulled up the United app on my phone. Sure enough, Flight 1847 was delayed 3 hours. Mechanical issues. Which meant Emily and Ryan were stuck at the airport, which meant I could walk over to their gate and say hello right now. I stood there in the middle of the concourse, people streaming past me on both sides, and felt a kind of dark joy spread through my chest. This was better than Austin. This was perfect. Gate 42 was in Terminal B, a 15-minute walk from where I stood. I texted Emily back, "That sucks. Hope it gets fixed soon." Then I headed for Terminal B. The gate area was crowded, delayed passengers everywhere, most of them on their phones or laptops or staring at the departure board like it might change through sheer force of will. I spotted Emily immediately. She was sitting near the windows, her attention focused on her phone. Ryan was next to her, closer than any colleague should be, his hand resting on her knee. I walked up slowly, quietly, and stopped about 10 feet away. "Well," I said, loud enough to carry over the ambient noise. "This is convenient?" Emily's head snapped up. Her face went white. Ryan looked confused, then alarmed, then panicked in the span of about 3 seconds. "Jake," Emily said, standing so fast she knocked over her coffee. It spilled across the floor, dark and spreading. "What are you doing here?" "Funny," I said. "I was going to ask you the same thing. I thought you were going to Austin for work. This is Denver." She opened her mouth, closed it, looked at Ryan like he might have an answer. Ryan stood up too, trying for confidence but landing somewhere around terrified. "You must be Ryan," I said, extending my hand. "Ryan Blackwood, class of 98, Stanford MBA, currently screwing my wife. Jake Maddox. Pleasure to meet you." Ryan didn't take my hand. Emily stepped between us, her voice low and urgent. "Jake, please, not here. We can talk about this at home." "Oh, I don't think so," I said. "See, I've been wanting to talk about this for weeks, but I didn't want to interrupt your travel schedule. You've been so busy lately. Chicago, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco. Did I miss any?" "Jake. And Ryan here. What a dedicated business partner. Always in the same cities at the same times. What are the odds?" People were starting to stare. I didn't care. Let them stare. Let everyone see Emily's perfect facade crack open like cheap paint. Ryan finally found his voice. "Look, man, I don't want any trouble." "Then you shouldn't have been sleeping with my wife," I said pleasantly. "But here we are." "Jake, please," Emily said again. She was crying now, or trying to, mascara starting to run. "Can we just—" "No," I said. "We can't. Here's what's going to happen. You two are going to cancel this trip. You're going to get on the next flight home. And Emily, you're going to call Kate and tell her you're not feeling well because we're going to have a very long conversation tonight." "You can't tell me what to do," Emily said, anger finally breaking through the panic. "You're right," I said. "I can't. But I can call Kate right now and tell her why her mother missed the wedding dress fitting last week. I can call your boss and ask if she knows you've been using company travel budgets to fund your affair. I can send all those lovely emails you and Ryan have been exchanging to everyone in your contact list. How does that sound?" Emily's face crumpled. Ryan looked like he wanted to disappear into the industrial carpet. "That's what I thought," I said. I pulled an envelope from my jacket pocket and handed it to Ryan. "These are photos of you and Emily in Seattle, Portland, and San Francisco. I have more. I have emails. I have hotel receipts. I have everything. If you contact my wife again, in any way, for any reason, I will ruin you. I will send these to your board of directors, your investors, your wife." "I'm not married," Ryan said weakly. "Then your mother," I said. "I don't care. You're done. Understand?" Ryan nodded. He looked like he might throw up. I turned to Emily. "You and me, tonight, at home. Don't make me come find you again." Then I walked away, leaving them standing there in the wreckage of their secret, and I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. Emily came home at 7 that night. I heard her car in the driveway, heard the garage door open and close, heard her footsteps in the kitchen. I was in the living room, sitting in the dark, a glass of whiskey in my hand. She turned on the light and saw me. "Jake," she said. Her voice was small, defeated. "We need to talk." "No," I said. "You need to listen." She sat down on the couch, her hands folded in her lap like a child called to the principal's office. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I never meant for this to happen. It just—" "Don't," I said. "Don't give me the 'it just happened' speech. Nothing just happens. You made choices. You chose to meet him. You chose to get on those planes. You chose to spend our money on hotel rooms and expensive dinners while I sat here like an idiot thinking my wife was working late." "I know," she whispered. "I know. You're right. How long?" "What?" "How long?" I repeated. "When did it start?" She was quiet for a long moment. "The reunion," she finally said. "Last June. We had drinks. We talked about old times. And then he invited me to Chicago for a conference, and I thought it would be fine, we'd just catch up, but you slept with him." She nodded, tears streaming down her face now. "And then you kept sleeping with him," I said, "for 10 months, while planning our daughter's wedding, while pretending everything was fine, while lying to my face every single day." "I'm sorry," she said again, like the words meant anything. "Do you love him?" Emily looked up, startled. "What?" "Simple question. Do you love Ryan Blackwood?" I don't know." "You don't know," I repeated. "You risked 23 years of marriage, your daughter's respect, your entire life, for someone you don't even know if you love." "It's not that simple." "Yes," I said, my voice rising. "It is. It's exactly that simple. You wanted something new and exciting, and you took it, and you didn't care who you hurt in the process." She was sobbing now, full heaving sobs that shook her shoulders. Part of me wanted to comfort her. Part of me wanted to walk over and hold her while she cried. That part was an idiot. "Here's what's going to happen," I said instead. "You're going to cut off all contact with Ryan. Block his number, delete his emails, erase him from your life. You're going to go to work, come home, and act like everything is normal until Kate's wedding is over. You're going to smile and help with the seating chart and write thank you notes and be the perfect mother of the bride." "Jake, I'm not finished," I said. "After the wedding, we'll figure out what happens next. Maybe we try to fix this. Maybe we get divorced. But Kate doesn't find out until after her wedding day. She gets to be happy. She gets to have that one perfect day without knowing her mother is a liar and a cheat." "Okay," Emily whispered. "Okay, whatever you want." "What I want," I said, "is for the last 10 months to not have happened, but we don't get what we want, do we?" I stood up, drained the rest of my whiskey, and walked past her toward the stairs. "Where are you going?" she asked. "To bed. You can sleep in the guest room." I didn't wait for her response. I went upstairs, closed the bedroom door, and sat on the edge of the bed in the dark. My hands were shaking. Adrenaline, probably, or rage, or the whiskey on an empty stomach. I'd won the first round. I'd confronted them, taken control, laid down the rules. Emily was scared and guilty and compliant. But it wasn't enough. Not even close. The next 3 weeks were a masterclass in dysfunction. Emily played her part perfectly. Attentive wife, devoted mother, professional consultant. She came home on time, helped with wedding preparations, and avoided any mention of Ryan Blackwood. To anyone watching from the outside, we looked like a normal couple navigating the stress of an upcoming wedding. But I knew better. I kept the monitoring software active. I kept Dennis on retainer, and I watched Emily the way a scientist watches a lab rat in a maze, curious to see if she'd learned her lesson or if she'd try to find another way out. She tried to find another way out. The new email account appeared 2 weeks after the airport confrontation. Another Gmail, another fake name. She was careful this time, only checking it at work or on her phone, never on the home computer. But I'd installed tracking software on her phone too, back when I first found the hotel receipt, and it captured everything. Ryan was still in the picture. They'd gone from daily contact to once or twice a week, messages that were apologetic and desperate and pathetic. "I miss you," Ryan wrote. "I can't stop thinking about you." "I know," Emily responded, "but we can't. Not now. Maybe after the wedding." After the wedding, like I was just going to forget? Like we'd get through Kate's big day, and then Emily would waltz back into Ryan's arms, and I'd, go bowling and get over it? I sat in my home office reading their messages and felt something shift inside me. The cold clarity I'd felt at the airport sharpened into something harder, something with edges. Emily wanted to keep Ryan in her life. Emily thought she could manage this, control the damage, wait out the storm. I was going to show her exactly how wrong she was. I started with Ryan's business. It took me 3 days to get access to his company's internal systems. I'm not going to explain how because it probably violated a dozen computer fraud laws, but let's just say that people who use password 123 to protect sensitive information deserve what they get. Ryan's company was built on relationships, partnerships with other firms, contracts with clients, a network of professional connections that looked impressive on paper but was actually fragile as hell. One email to the wrong person, one hint of instability, and the whole thing could collapse. I sent the first email on a Monday morning, a carefully crafted message from a fake account posing as a concerned employee, sent to 3 of Ryan's biggest investors. The email contained just enough detail to be believable: concerns about financial mismanagement, questions about expense reports, subtle hints that Ryan was using company funds for personal travel. I included copies of hotel receipts from the Grand View with Ryan's signature on them. By Tuesday afternoon, Ryan's board had called an emergency meeting. By Wednesday, he was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. I watched it all unfold from my laptop screen, tracking the company's internal emails, the panicked messages from Ryan to his leadership team, the carefully worded press release about temporary restructuring, and I smiled. Emily found out on Thursday. She came home pale and shaking, her phone clutched in her hand. "Ryan's been suspended from his job," she said. I looked up from the wedding seating chart Kate and I were working on. "Who's Ryan?" Emily stared at me. Kate looked confused. "Someone I used to know," Emily said finally. "From college. I heard through mutual friends." "That's too bad," I said, returning my attention to the seating chart. "Sounds like he made some poor decisions." Emily left the room. Kate frowned at me. "Is Mom okay?" she asked. "She's stressed about the wedding," I said. "We all are. She'll be fine." That night, Emily's new email account lit up with messages from Ryan. Desperate, angry, confused. He knew something was wrong but couldn't figure out what. His company was accusing him of fraud. His reputation was being destroyed, and he had no idea why. "This is insane," he wrote to Emily. "Someone is sabotaging me. I don't understand." "Maybe you should focus on fixing it instead of emailing me," Emily responded. I almost felt bad for Ryan. Almost. But then I remembered him sitting next to my wife at that airport gate, his hand on her knee, and the sympathy evaporated. The second email went to Ryan's landlord, a corporate property management company that owned his expensive downtown loft. It was a simple message. "I'm concerned about illegal activity at your property, specifically apartment 3204. Drug use, suspicious visitors, possible prostitution. You might want to investigate before it becomes a legal liability." The landlord investigated. Ryan's lease was terminated within a week. The third email went to his gym, reporting stolen credit card information. The fourth went to his car insurance company, reporting fraudulent accident claims. The fifth, sixth, and seventh went to professional organizations, alumni networks, and industry groups, each one carefully crafted to raise questions and plant seeds of doubt. I dismantled Ryan Blackwood's life piece by piece, and I felt nothing but satisfaction. Kate wanted to have a pre-wedding dinner party. Nothing huge, just close family and friends, a chance for both sides to meet before the big day. She'd been planning it for months. Catered food, wine, The good dishes, the whole production. Emily tried to get out of it. Said she wasn't feeling well, had too much work, couldn't handle the stress. But Kate was insistent, and Emily eventually gave in because saying no would have raised questions she wasn't ready to answer. The party was set for a Friday night, 2 weeks before the wedding. 20 people in our dining room, including my parents, Emily's sister, Kate's future in-laws, and half a dozen college friends. I spent the week preparing. Not food or decorations. Emily and Kate handled that. I prepared something else. The night of the party, I was the perfect host. Greeting guests, pouring wine, making small talk about the weather and the wedding and how fast Kate had grown up. Emily played her part too, smiling and laughing and pretending everything was fine. To everyone in that room, we looked like a happy couple. We made it through appetizers and salad without incident. The main course was being served when I stood up and tapped my wine glass with a fork. "If I could have everyone's attention for a moment," I said. The room quieted. Kate smiled at me, thinking I was about to give some heartfelt father of the bride speech. "I just wanted to say a few words before we get too deep into the evening," I continued. "As most of you know, Kate's wedding is coming up fast. 2 weeks from tomorrow, it's going to be a beautiful day." Murmurs of agreement. Emily's face was frozen in a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Marriage is interesting," I said. "You promise to love someone forever, through good times and bad, sickness and health, all that traditional stuff. And for a long time, you believe it. You think those promises are unbreakable." I paused, took a sip of wine. The room was very quiet now. "But sometimes," I continued, "you find out that promises are just words, that the person you've built a life with has been living a completely different life behind your back. That trust is just another thing that can be broken and discarded when something more exciting comes along." Kate's smile had vanished. "Dad, what are you—" "For example," I said, my voice calm and conversational. "Did you know that Emily has been having an affair with her college boyfriend for the past 10 months, using our joint bank account to fund trips to Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, and half a dozen other cities, meeting him in hotel rooms while telling me she was at work conferences?" The room erupted. Emily's face went from white to red. Kate looked like I'd slapped her. My mother gasped. Emily's sister started to say something, then stopped. "Jake, stop," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Why?" I asked. "These are our closest friends and family. They should know the truth, don't you think? They should know that while they've been helping us plan Kate's wedding, Emily has been planning her next trip to meet Ryan Blackwood." "You're drunk," Emily said, standing up. "You don't know what you're saying." "I'm completely sober," I said. "And I have proof. Emails, hotel receipts, photos, phone records, 10 months of lies, all documented." I pulled out my phone, pulled up the photo gallery, and handed it to Kate's future father-in-law, who was sitting closest to me. "Here," I said. "You can see for yourself." He looked at the screen, his face hardening, passed the phone to his wife. She looked, gasped, passed it along. The phone made its way around the table while Emily stood there, tears streaming down her face. "Jake, please," she said. "Not like this." "Then how?" I asked. "How should I have done this? Should I have kept quiet? Let you keep lying? Let everyone here think we're happily married while you sneak off to see your boyfriend?" Kate stood up so fast her chair fell over. "I can't believe this," she said, looking at Emily. "Mom, tell me he's lying." Emily couldn't even look at her, just stood there crying, her hands shaking. "I'm sorry," Emily whispered. "I'm so sorry." Kate walked out of the room. Her fiancé followed. Within 5 minutes, the entire party had dissolved, guests making awkward excuses and fleeing to their cars. My parents lingered longest, my mother looking torn between hugging me and yelling at me. "We'll call you tomorrow," my father said finally. And then it was just Emily and me, standing in the dining room surrounded by half-eaten food and abandoned wine glasses. "You bastard," Emily said, her voice raw. "You absolute bastard." "Yeah," I said. "I am." She left that night, packed a bag, called her sister, and drove away without another word. I cleaned up the dinner party by myself, loading plates into the dishwasher, wrapping leftovers, blowing out candles. When I was done, I poured myself a whiskey and sat in the empty house and felt nothing at all. Kate didn't speak to either of us for 3 days. Emily was staying with her sister. I was alone in the house, going to work, coming home, existing in a kind of numb routine. On the 3rd day, Kate showed up at the house. She looked exhausted, her eyes red from crying. "I need to know everything," she said. So I told her. The hotel receipt, the emails, the meetings, the airport confrontation, all of it. I showed her the evidence, let her read the messages between Emily and Ryan. I didn't sugarize it or make excuses, just laid out the facts and let her process them. When I was done, she sat on the couch for a long time, staring at nothing. "I can't believe she'd do this," she finally said. "I know. 2 weeks before my wedding." "I'm sorry," I said. "I thought you should know. I thought everyone should know." "Did you have to do it like that?" she asked. "In front of everyone?" "Probably not," I admitted. But I was tired of pretending, tired of watching her lie to everyone. Kate nodded slowly. "Is the wedding still happening?" "That's up to you." "I want it to happen," she said. "But I don't know if I can look at Mom without seeing this, without thinking about what she did." "You don't have to decide right now," I said. She left after that, and I was alone again. But that night, Emily called. "Kate won't talk to me," she said. Her voice was hollow, defeated. "She won't return my calls." "Can you blame her?" "This is your fault," Emily said, anger creeping in. "You humiliated me. You destroyed everything." "I destroyed everything," I said. "I wasn't the one sleeping with someone else, Emily." "You're vindictive and cruel, and you've poisoned my daughter against me." "I told her the truth, that's all." "The truth," Emily spat. "You wanted revenge. You wanted to hurt me the way I hurt you. And you did. Congratulations." "Good," I said. She hung up. That night Ryan called. I don't know how he got my number, and I wasn't sure I wanted to answer, but something inside me made me pick up. "Listen," he said, his voice low and careful. "I know you're angry, but I need you to understand something. This wasn't just about you. It was never just about you." "What the hell does that mean?" I asked, my hands shaking. I was confused. Emily, she wasn't who I thought she was, and I thought I could find something better, something that made more sense. But I was wrong, he said. "You're sorry now," I said bitterly. "Where was your apology when I needed it?" "I don't expect forgiveness," he admitted. I needed you to know I didn't want to destroy everything, but I did." I was silent for a long time, just listening to the faint hum of static on the line. I wanted to hang up, but something in me held back. "Is it over between you and Emily?" I asked. "I don't know," he said. "I think so, but she won't talk to me either. And I don't blame her." There was another pause, and then he sighed. "Do you think there's any chance of fixing things?" he asked, a hint of hope in his voice. "I don't think so," I said, my voice a little stronger than before. "Not with you, not with her, not with anything." And I hung up. The next day, I received a letter from Kate. It was brief, just a few lines, but it hit me hard. "I need time. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I need to figure things out. I can't keep pretending everything's fine." I understood. I didn't want to force her into anything. She had every right to take the space she needed. Days turned into weeks. The silence between us all grew heavier. I went to work, came home, and tried to piece together a life from the wreckage of everything that had happened. Kate eventually moved in with her aunt, and Emily, well, she stayed away. I heard nothing from Ryan. One night, I was sitting on the couch, flipping through TV channels, when I saw Kate walking up the driveway. She looked tired, but there was something different in her posture. She knocked on the door, and I opened it without hesitation. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I stepped aside, letting her in. We sat down in the living room, and she looked at me with a mixture of sadness and understanding. I think I finally get it. Not just the betrayal, but everything. I don't know what to do with all this anger, or if I should even forgive her. "Forgiveness isn't something you can force," I said, "but it's okay to feel whatever you feel." She nodded, wiping a tear from her cheek. "I just want to move forward. I want to let go of all of this. But it's so hard." "You don't have to rush," I told her. "Thanks," she whispered. "Thanks for telling me the truth, even when it hurt." We sat in silence for a long time after that, neither of us knowing where to go from here. But I think, for the first time in weeks, there was a sense of peace in the room. Not resolution, but understanding. The future was uncertain, and it always would be, but at least we had each other, and sometimes that's all you can hold on to.